Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough and hand stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust! That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I fold it. Get a New York-style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We're excited to be here this lovely evening for the Kansas Speedway race here, the Papa John's 250. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Big Al as my co-commentator here tonight. Of course, Kobe Jordan down behind the camera is going to be bringing us all the camera angles and all the action for you at your home here on Thursday night. How you doing, though, Big Al? Are you ready to go playoff racing here in round 12?
Woohoo, Brian, super excited. I'm telling you what, we're back out here in Kansas, man. I just can't wait to click my heels together 3 times and say there's no place. No, I'm lying. I really don't like Kansas. But yeah, I'm excited about the race.
Yeah, definitely excited. Of course, this is a 1.5 mile racetrack, and this is, as I mentioned, kind of the start of the round of 12. We've had 4 drivers go home here last week, I do believe, at Bristol Motor Speedway, and we'll talk a little bit about who those drivers are, but let's take a look at the details of tonight's race. And, of course, this is a 250-mile race, 167 laps on the docket, so quite a long one here tonight. Of course, stages are set for Stage 1 to complete at lap 35 going to 36. Stage 2 is 75 to 76. That will be the completion of that, and of course stage points will be awarded to the top 10 finishers at the end of the stages. And of course 6 sets of tires, 5 actually altogether, which is not a lot of tires, shockingly, for this racetrack. So I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to really keep an eye on is the tires. One thing that I've noticed as this week has progressed, in all 3 of the different NASCAR vehicles, whether you're in the Xfinity car, the next gen, or the truck, after about 20 laps, the car gets insanely difficult to drive, no matter what setup you're really running. So, you could have a really, really fast setup, but it's all going to be about who is able to drive it on the longer run. In the first 20 laps, everyone's going to be feeling like a champ. But after 20 laps, you're going to see who the real drivers are, who have really been saving their equipment, who's been really taking care of those resources. And having only 5 sets of tires down in the pits, that is a scary thought to me. So I'm curious to see how these guys kind of, handle that here this evening. Of course, let's look at the points and see who did go home last week and who is going to keep playoff racing this week. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua, he made it to the next round. He's got 4 wins on the season. Patrick Gitter, he's on to the next round. Matt DeCiani on to the next round. Clayton Hoffman's in 4th. Brian Johnson 5th on to the next round. Abner Acosta, even though he's had some woes when it comes to his performance, internet and things of that nature been plaguing that driver, he still goes on to the next round. Randy Mullins goes on to the next round. Mark Sanchez makes it to the next round. Josh Schaffner. Now, Schaffner was one that was really close. He almost did not make it to the next round just because of just how bad that race last week went for him. Tim Wortman Jr., he's going to make it to the next round. Let's keep going. And then Greg Wachinski, and last but not least, actually is least, Alexander Carr. Alexander Carr, when he got so close to not making it. Alexander Carr, with his performance last week, just barely edged his way into the top 12. So big, I gotta take my hat off for the 18. I mean, the guy drove a heck of a race last week at Bristol. Kenny Powell, unfortunately, owner of the league, he is not going to be moving on to the next round. John Bender, he's also not going to be moving on to the next round. Randy Drumhiller and Derek Heitman. I know last week Drumhiller was everybody's punching bag, and clearly that affected his playoff hopes here, Big Al. So just a lot of sad guys here tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and we noticed that as we were actually going through that event, that Drumhiller just wasn't having a banner day. Also, Kenny Powell struggled, and during the season, Brian, you can have those missteps and mistakes and have a bad day and be okay, but unfortunately, man, once you get into the playoffs, it's a completely different story. One bad race, like Abner Acosta, he's going to be looking to try to get a win, and really, I think he kind of lost his opportunity. We talked about that when we were back over at the road course. He still has one more of those left to come up to maybe kind of redeem himself. But this is the racetrack right here. This is the one I think that's really going to set the mark for us, Brian, because like you were saying, tires and tires and tires, that's going to be the key word here. And we might as well roll right into the over-unders.
Yeah, cautions. I think cautions. There is a possibility for some cautions here tonight. I think that definitely could be something we'll see. We'll have to wait. I'm definitely not sure what we'll see, but I'm just gonna have to kind of take a shot in the dark. I'm gonna say 2 cautions for cause.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and smack 4.
All right. What's our producer saying? All right, our producer is saying 3 cautions for cause here tonight. So definitely, I think one of us will get it. I mean, even though it is hard to drive these cars on the longer run, I think that for the most part, the wrecking happens off the racetrack. Most of the time, the problem areas we're going to see here tonight is coming off of turn number 4. You're going to see guys getting really loose or smacking that wall. That wall somehow seems to move, in my opinion. I think it comes down and hits you. I don't think we really come up and hit it, from my experience this week. I'll tell you, Kansas is notorious for that turn 4 wall. There's also a bump in 1 and 2 that could easily cause some problems. But for the most part, the accidents we're going to see are probably going to come knock the guys off the track, and then they're going to have to come back on the track. That could be where the caution happens. We'll have to wait and see, though. Definitely excited to see how this all plays out. We see Greg Wyszynski's on the racetrack. I know a lot of guys are really, I think, hanging their playoff hopes on tonight's race. Because Talladega's next week. That's a track I don't want to hang my playoff hopes on. The Roval is the week after that. That's another track. If I'm not a road course racer, I'm not hanging my playoff hopes on that. So, really, this is a somewhat of a normal oval racetrack that I feel like someone can get some good points here or maybe get a win.
Yeah, it has potential to be a great race, but however, you hit the nail directly on the head when you were talking prior to the race here, and you were talking specifically about the tire wear model, and I do believe that's one thing that we're going to see come into play here that we haven't seen in previous Kansas races. Before you really were kind of out there, and you would kind of feel that tire kind of wear out a little bit, degrade, and I was looking back at one of the last races that we were here, and that's one of the words we use. I think we're going to use it a lot more here tonight.
Well, let's go ahead and take a step away. We'll play our national anthem. We'll come back with, of course, the race here that's scheduled at Kansas. We'll take some time to maybe play some commercials as well. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engines! Woo! Ooh, Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough and hand stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust. That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I fold it. Get a New York-style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we just have the grid set here for this evening's action. It looks like we have the 92 of Clayton Hoffman going to be starting from the pole. He was the fastest in practice and was the only driver that was able to hit a sub 30-second lap. So not a surprise to see him this fast here in qualifying. Surprised he wasn't faster in qualifying here, to say the least. Of course, Derek Heitman, he's going to be starting on the second place, or on the front row in second place. Abner Acosta starts in third place. Patrick Gitter is going to be starting in fourth place position. Brian Johnson in fifth. Sixth place, Josh Shopter. Tim Wortman Jr. starts in eighth place. Brandon Pasalacqua in, of course, ninth. And Alexander Carr in 10th. One thing I want to notice is all playoff drivers starting in the top 10.
Yep, that's going to put Paul Whitley the second in 11th with Jeffrey Souza on his outside. Nick King starts in 13th. You'll have Randy Mullins on his outside in 14th. Greg Wachinski, another playoff driver, starting in 15th with Jay Holm along his south side. Greg Carr starting in 17th. You'll have Benjamin D. Stevens on his outside. Paul Hill rolling off in 19th. And Randy Drumhiller is going to round out your top 20.
Mark Sanchez going to be starting in 21st. Dave Fuge Jr. in 22nd. Corey Saucier starts in 23rd. Jordan Sailors in 24th place. Kenny Powell starts in 25th. Jason D. Maines, who ran really well last week, if I'm not mistaken, did really well, was able to actually clinch a podium, and we were able to talk to him. It was cool to actually talk to him. Of course, 27th, Connor Banks. Jose Acosta starts in 28th. Derek Jacobs qualifies in 29th. Paul Olson rounds out the 30 cars, or 30th place position. Of course, John Bender in 31st, who went home last week, unfortunately. Kendall Levron is going to start in 32nd, and Jose Medina rounds out this 33-car field. So quite a large field here tonight at Kansas. I mean, man, this is going to be an interesting one for sure. And I got to be honest with you, even though Kenny Powell is out of the playoffs, one thing he did mention was, he said, this is the most drivers that I've had towards the end of the playoffs, or should I say towards the end of the season. I mean, a lot of times with leagues, Big Al, we see that when playoffs start, the guys that aren't in the playoffs anymore, they all scatter like roaches in a way, and you don't see a whole lot of participation towards the end of the season. That's not the case here in the ISCA this season, and I love it.
Yep, we're definitely going to just roll with what we got, man. Like we always say, run what you brung. So with the 33 cars, heck, I'll take it, man, because I'm super excited about it. It gives us something to talk about, and it has to feel really well. And, we did have a situation last week where you kind of talked about where we had a non-playoff driver that actually got and made contact with a playoff driver. So there's also going to be that possibility as well. And you put all that together, man, it just makes for an exciting recipe.
Well, speaking of a non-playoff driver that could possibly, play spoiler, a driver like Derek Heitman starting in second place position. I mean, he's one that I'm really looking at right now. I mean, of course, didn't show up last week, I do believe, for Bristol Motor Speedway, but he's here and ready for action tonight at Kansas. So hopefully he doesn't get involved in someone. But, of course, we've talked about it many times before. These guys have every right to race, and even though the playoff drivers might not like it, But these guys are here to kind of get those victories and those trophies as well. I mean, their season still goes on even though they're not going for a championship. Here goes the pace car down pit road. We enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out for the first time here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Clayton Hoffman wasting no time to get up through the gears. Now, I know a lot of different setups are running different gear packages here. Some drivers in 5th gear, some drivers in 4th gear, and that could also drastically affect the fuel mileage here tonight. Of course, fuel run is expected to be about 64 laps. We're not going to have to really worry about that in Stage 1 or Stage 2, but look at the pushing that we're seeing from the Team Conti drivers, Derek Heitman and Patrick Gitter. Looks like Heitman's probably going to lead lap 1 here.
Yeah, and definitely, good on Heitman. He did miss the playoffs, but, hopefully he can come back out here. Maybe get a little redemption, a little bit revenge. Maybe he can actually put that car where it needs to be. Everything seems to be okay on the racetrack right now. Looking back towards the back of the pack, 2 wide situations, almost 3 wide, but I think everybody's settled in for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it's some pretty good racing. I mean, we see Matt DeCiani kind of using the higher line. Now, Kansas predominantly, traditionally is a higher groove racetrack. Traditionally, you kind of want to use the high groove, and that's going to be where you're going to make a lot of speed. But from what I've been hearing, the bottom line is where you're going to want to be in order to save tires. So look at that. Tim Wortman Jr. shooting through the middle, 3 wide on Jeffrey Souza. This is for the 7th place position. And it looks like Wortman, I think, is going to get the pass completed. He moves down in front of Josh Jompner, but what a move for the 83. Of course, he is a playoff driver trying to make waves here. Has not won, I do believe, in this series yet.
Yeah, it's okay to go 3 wide. Track like Kansas, plenty of room early on into the stage. So, I mean, we got a couple instances back here where we're 3 wide now. As this thing rolls on, that's probably not going to be the lane of choice there. Maybe, 3 wide, something you might want to, steer away from, just depending on where you're at on that racetrack round. But right now, everything's just looking smooth.
Yeah, no, it definitely, everybody looks like they're pretty smooth right now, but I'm telling you, in about 20 laps, it's not going to look like that. I think a lot of these guys are going to be struggling. You're going to see the guys that are fast right now, they're going to start wiggling around a lot more than they want to be. Handling conditions is going to be a big problem here tonight, and I think a lot of these guys are going to be making a lot of adjustments to these race cars to kind of get the cars working a little bit better. So see Paul Hill making a pass on the top side here for the 10th place position. He's going to get by Brandon Passalacqua.
Yeah, I think you hit the net. You're spot on that as well. Another thing is, I think maybe people are struggling from the lack of long runs. I mean, you don't really get to see those a whole lot outside of league racing like the ISCA, so that might actually come into factor here as well tonight.
No, it definitely could. I mean, one driver I'm looking at particular, Abner Acosta, he started up towards the front. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, he started in like 4th place or something like that. He's already fallen back tonight. This shows me the tire saving strategy here. Abner is running the bottom. He's not really pushing the issue. He's falling back because he knows how important tires are going to be later in this run. This is going to be a driver I'm going to watch all day long. This is a 55. He's always been an expert tire saver. He knows that tires are going to be the resource here tonight. And you're right, though. In the officials, a lot of times you don't get those green flag runs. You kind of do a 20, 30 lap run, and then a caution comes out. That's kind of what happens in the officials. That's not the case in the ISCA. The ISCA usually goes long run, and you're going to see these guys truly tested here tonight as Heitman tries to run away. Very good exit on the turn 4 there. Gets really close to the wall, but is able to really maximize the exit speed. You can see Patrick Gitter not too far back, about 2/10 off of the back bumper of the 21. Clayton Hoffman, though, I think kind of biding his time as well. One of the bigger movers has been Tim Wortman Jr. He's up to the 5th place position. Paul Hill has now shot his way up to 6th place, as we're seeing the 3 of Nick King. He was one of the fastest guys in practice. Now he's challenging for about the 10th or 11th spot right now.
Yeah, I was watching Nick King a little bit earlier on, and he was back there snug as a bug there in a little bit of a 3 wide situation, but he has since, like you said, got himself out. And back then, Brian, he was literally, back in 15th, 16th position. So he is definitely finding a little bit of speed, and that's helping him out a lot.
One driver I'm seeing move through the field, he was one of the drivers that kind of went home last week without getting into the playoffs. We talked about him a little bit before. The owner, Kenny Powell, He's up in now 14th. I think he's looking to possibly get some, some maybe play spoiler here. I talked to Kenny a little bit before the show, and he said this is one of his favorite mile and a halves. He's led a bunch of laps at this racetrack in the past, and he's also won here. He told me that the track that he has the most official wins at is Kansas. So, and he's clearly showing it. He's moving through the field up to 12th right now.
Yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty good. Unfortunately, that momentum might have came just a little bit too late in the season, but nonetheless, Brian, a win's a win. It doesn't matter exactly when it happens, and that's one of the things we're talking about having so many drivers actually come back out here tonight, and it's working out great for us as this field of 33 still packed in there pretty tight with not a lot of gap there between the first place and the last place car. So I don't really think we're probably going to run into even lap traffic here if we can just keep this thing green.
Yeah, I think in stage one we probably won't encounter much of that as we're, of course, now starting lap number 12. I do want to mention, of course, on Tuesday night about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I was partnering with the broadcasting network Grid Vision. I've been starting calling the Spartan series for, the Spartan, the SSRL series. And a lot of these guys that are in this ISCA race right now were in that series. Now, of course, that league features a 60% fuel tank. And they were at this exact same track, Big Al. Who made adjustments to their car? Who has been used to that 60% fuel tank and jumps in here in a Thursday night series and we got 100% fuel? We also have to go 60-something laps on a run instead of it being only like 40.
I don't think that's going to be the case at all because remember we used to be a 60% lead.
That's right.
And that caused a lot of havoc with a lot of drivers just having to make the changes to the setup because it is significantly different. Although, it's only 40% of fuel, but yeah, like you said, it's approximately 20 laps or so. And that's a big deal when you're designing something as tight as your fuel management for the race.
And that's something I think, a lot of these guys that makes the car tighter as well. When you take 60% of the fuel out of the race car or 40% of the fuel out of the race car, that causes the car to be lighter. It causes the car to be tighter as well to where you're going to see, it not be as loose. Now, jumping into this race here tonight, these guys might not be used to the looseness. So they might have maybe done an A Open or something like that to possibly get acclimated to the different fuel ratio. So we'll have to see and keep an eye on that. But I'll tell you who's been driving through the field, Jeffrey Souza, taking them 3 wide up top. He's making some big moves in the 96. He had a little bit of a bad day on Tuesday, so I think he's looking for some redemption here in the ISCA.
Absolutely. Never too late to smile, and we've been watching Jeffrey Souza for a while. Probably not the best season, but, he's still out here. He's a contender, man. I'll definitely say that. Speaking of contenders, Derek Heitner still leading the field. He's got to be feeling pretty good about what he's doing right now. Out to a comfortable lead, and we don't have any sub-30s right now. I think Jeffrey Souza is running one of the only sub-31 second laps on the track. So, he's got that Souza bus rolling smooth.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got a lot of speed right now. We're about 17 laps now into this run, and Paul Hill continues to make moves here. Matthew DeCiani up to now 7th place. We're seeing some battle further back on the edge of the top 10. Corey Saucier is actually fighting for 10th place at the moment. I do believe you see the 29, unfortunately, of Mark Sanchez. He's a playoff driver getting past there and possibly could be under fire here very shortly by Brian Johnson. Of course, Brian Johnson, last week's winner at Bristol Motor Speedway. Brian, we got to talk about Brian. This guy stayed out last week at Bristol, ran about 160 laps on a set of tires, and won the race. I mean, what a testament to the speed there that race car has, the longevity. Of course, there was a late race caution, but even if the late race caution hadn't came out, Brian Johnson would have won the race. But he still did win it, so no matter what, Brian, got his win and definitely sitting pretty for the playoffs, trying to, of course, capitalize, I think, on the momentum that he has from that Bristol race at the Lance Craig Coliseum. We're still seeing Paul Hilda now fighting his way up into 4th place. He's battling, I do believe, at the moment with Jeffrey Souza. Souza's ripping the top, and the top lane at this racetrack does have more momentum. But is Souza sacrificing the tires? I think he might be.
Yeah, and that's something that's going to definitely play out as we get, a little bit further on. You're going to see guys not having a choice, really. They're going to probably wash up. So hanging down on that low side, it probably does wear the tires out a little bit. I think that's one of the key talking points, especially at a track like Kansas, is, do you run low or do you run high? And how long do you have before you really don't have a choice?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good point. I mean, I know that, speaking from my experience when it comes to not driving this car at this track, but just hearing other people talk, it sounds like you want to run about 20 or so laps on the bottom if you can. Or some drivers even like to run the bottom the entire time. But some cars just seem to do better at maybe running the bottom and then moving up later in the run. And I think that's going to be something we're probably going to see the most of, is guys kind of transitioning up to the top lane later in the run.
Yeah,
but Derek Heitman's lost the lead. Derek Heitman lost the lead. Patrick Gitter now up to the top spot. And he's going to see if he can possibly continue to hold on to that. One driver that is starting to, I think, edge his way back forward was pole sitter Clayton Hoffman. Has not led a lap yet. Even though he started from the pole, he lost the lead essentially immediately. Clayton always known as a long-run style driver, though. I think that he's going to possibly work his way up and maybe challenge. Or could he be challenged himself? I mean, you see Paul Hill. Paul Hill looks really fast. Jeffrey Souza still showing some pretty good speed, as they're not too far off the back end of Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, so right now we're in that crux situation where it's almost go time. I'm calling that at 10 to go. Kansas fits and feels almost like a super speedway, except for you have to kind of lift a little bit in the corners when you're going around. But I think for those guys that have saved tires, this is going to be the time where they actually show us what they got, unless they're just done. And I don't think that to be the case. I'm watching a lot of these drivers, Abner and Costa, for one, and they have kind of got a little bit of a gap between them in the lead cars, but I think they're going to start to close those up here.
Yeah, I think now will be that time we're going to start to see those guys that have been saving start to really start to move forward. We're seeing Paul Hill now starting to attack Jeffrey Souza, getting a little bit tight, though. I mean, Hill was able to make the pass, but I saw he was a little tight on the exit there. Still able to secure that position. Caution flag is out.
Oops. We got Kenny Powell's involved in this one. Looks like he's way in the back of the pack. Jordan Sailors is the recipient of that dreaded repairs required flag. He's going to be that number 17 car.
And this is exactly what I said. After 25 laps, this is when the car starts to handle terribly. And it looks like Sailors just gets into the outside wall. And I think some other drivers maybe come in. But you see Sailors kind of sends it in a little bit too hard, gets into the outside wall, which is fine. But then he comes off the outside wall. He comes off the outside wall, gets down into Jay Hone. Now, Hone doesn't really get any damage on this, but I'll tell you who does. Yeah, Randy Drumhiller. But who really does get involved in this is, I think, Benjamin Stevens. Unfortunately, the 34, we saw him. He got really involved in this. Kendall LeVron as well had to, he got shot down onto the apron. I think the major damage is going to be from probably Jordan Sailors and Benjamin Stevens. I think Stevens definitely got some major damage out of that.
And this is not a track that you can really ride around beat up and expect to be okay. A lot of business going on down on pit road right now.
And one thing I talked, last time we were at 1.5 miles, I think these guys had like 7 sets of tires, 6 down in the pits to play with. Tonight they only have 5 to play with. So this is kind of an interesting call. This is a little bit of a shakeup, a little bit of a scary decision has to be made right now when you have one less set of tires at 1.5 miles, and especially 1.5 miles to where tires matter so much. A lot of guys made a decision, I think, to take them because I feel like they'll be able to kind of work their way through the field. I don't know. This is kind of an interesting because I don't want to be left at the end of this race and a caution comes out and I don't have any tires left.
Yeah, it looks like we got some takers. Looks like Matt DeCiani, Brian Johnson. Also saw Greg Wachinski rolling down the pit road. Still waiting on his to actually register. I'm not seeing it scored that way. Randy Drumhiller in the 34 car. Benjamin Stevens is going to be down right now. No doubt getting damage repaired. Looks like Randy's just running from a bad week into another bad week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, he also lost his playoff spot, did not move on to the round of 12. So the 44 is definitely just having a tough week here. Is not quite sure what we're looking at. But here we go, getting ready to get this thing back underway. Pace car lights are out, and we're going to have ourselves a shootout here to the end of stage 1. Now, the thing is we were starting to get to that point to where the handling was starting to go away. You could see Jordan Sailors, he got tight, got into the wall. And I talked about 20-something laps on your tires. That's the number. That's when things start to get squirrely. That's when it starts to feel like you're driving on ice here at Kansas. So what are these guys that are up towards the front? They're going to have to do a green flag, a start here, a restart. I think we could see wheel spin. It could happen.
It's definitely going to be a gingerly rolling restart. That's what's going to happen. No one's going to just stomp down on a throttle, because if you do, she go whoopsie, she go round. So, yeah, I definitely think that these guys are going to have to mind their P's and Q's on the restart, but it should not be too complicated.
We'll see. I mean, we're going to see here. Here we go into the Geico restart zone, and there it is. Green flag is out. Yeah, no real wheel spin there. Everybody able to get underneath, go underneath their own power. As we have a battle for second place, you can see that Clayton Hoffman trying to take advantage of the restart. I think he might be able to get clear here, unless Heitman gets a run out of turn 2, and he will. Very good run from Derek Heitman out of turn 2. He's going to go side by side, and I think he's going to possibly even clear Clayton. No, Clayton resurgent on the bottom of 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 here, as they are battling all throughout this pack. You see Brandon Pasalacqua working, trying to battle with Jeffrey Souza a little bit further back. That's for the top 5. Almost 3 wide. Here comes Abner Acosta to the middle, almost, or
to the outside,
the bottom. Almost 3 wide.
Yeah, Abner definitely now seems to be trying to get his wheels going. The 96 is going to be a little bit low. Going to have some cars going by. Josh Schaffner enters into the fray.
Yeah, Doc Schaffner always known for being a good tire saver, so it wouldn't be surprised to see him trying to drive his way up here as we now have 6 laps to go. Schaffner, of course, had a bad week.
It's an awesome paint scheme. I just want to give a shout out to Schaffner for that one. That thing looks pretty slick.
Yeah, for sure. The Corn Man, as he's known, probably wanting to have a little bit of a better week performance than he did last week. I mean, last week at Bristol, just kind of a heartbreaking performance 2 weeks in a row. I mean, at Watkins Glen, he gets taken out by a lap car. So
Yeah,
he's just having a bad week or a bad couple weeks, and I think he's wanting to turn that around. This is the start of the round of 12. He wants this to be the start of something better.
Yep, you got to shake it off sometimes. Just kind of forget.
Oh, Souza in the wall. Jeffrey Souza in the outside wall, which causes a massive checkup for a lot of drivers behind him. Fortunately, it didn't slow him down as much as it could have. He did not fall out of the top 10. But here comes last week's really good performer, very good hard charger last week, Jason Maines, up in the top 10 now, or almost in the top 10.
Nick King just gave Mr. Sanchez just a nice little nudge. Kind of will cut Mark just a little bit.
What I want to talk about, though, is the guys that took tires are starting to come through the field. Matt Niciani is absolutely flying right now.
And also on that same note, Brian, you got guys that didn't take tires, and they're definitely getting on the struggle bus.
Yeah, for sure. But Abner Acosta, he looks pretty fast right now. Brandon Pasalacqua is looking fast up in top in the 4th place position. He's running the exact same pace. Oh, Brian Johnson loose off of turn number 2. He's able to save it. Ooh, that was a big scary moment there for the Ford machine. Last week's winner at Bristol. He's still loose. He's having problems. And this is what I was talking about. When you get 20-plus laps on your tires, when you get 25-plus laps on your tires, the car starts acting like you're driving on ice.
Amen. Looks like that white flag. It's going to be coming out here as we're slowly getting close to the end of the stage. I think it's just that. I think you're seeing what happens when the tires go bye-bye. You know, and unfortunately, that's towards the end of the stage, but these stages are only going to get longer from here, so, I mean, I
actually
definitely
misspoke, Brian. I was thinking that was a handling woe because of the tires. Actually, Brian's on newer tires, so I actually misspoke. But still, he definitely has some sort of wheels. I mean, that could even have been cold tires. We've seen that in the past, where cold tires have been the problem. But we have almost a three-way battle for the lead here, as we are on the white flag lap for stage number 1. As there goes DeCiani. He's the one that's on the newer tires to the front, and he's going to take the lead 3 wide on the bottom, and he's going to take the stage 1 win. That's why he took those tires. He went all the way outside of the top 15 and was able to drive his way up to the lead. That shows you the value of new tires right there. What a move there for Matt DeCiani.
But what truly is the cost of those new tires? Matt DeCiani, your stage 1 winner. Patrick Gitter's going to come in second, Clayton Hopp in third, Brian Johnson coming in fourth, Nick King fifth, Brian Johnson sixth, Derek Heitman seventh, Brandon Pasalacqua eighth, Abner Coster ninth, and Randy Mullins is going to round out this top 10. With stage 1 in the books, we're going to take a brief step away, and we'll be back with whoever Brian wants to talk to, probably our stage 1 winner.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough in hand, stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust! That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it, or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I fold it. Get a New York-style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we're at Kansas Speedway for the Papa John's 250. We just saw Matt DeCiani take tires and able to win stage 1. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Matt DeCiani, this is the boys up in the booth. Do you read us?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Matt. We saw you took tires there, with that kind of impromptu caution. What are you thinking right there? Do you think that was a gamble? What are the thoughts? What are the rest of the race going to look like with that decision?
Yeah, it was a gamble, but figured I'd take points if I can get them, and figured that was probably my only way to possibly get a stage win, and it worked out. I think we're fine on tires. I mean, if it turns into a caution fest, I might be in trouble, but I'm going to lead on with the trends of this league that we get green flag runs, and so I still should have an extra set if we need it.
Yeah, that's definitely probably a good call. I mean, I would bet that we'll probably stay green, but then again, we might not. I mean, of course, tell us about how the car feels on the longer runs. I know Team Conti's got a pretty good piece this week, but I know most of the, setup providers are having issues when it comes to that 25-plus lap run, to where it feels like you're driving on ice. Is that something you're dealing with?
Yeah, and it's not in my opinion, a setup thing. It's definitely all driver. You just gotta be really aware of what you're doing to the right rear. I mean, you get it too hot, it's gonna be on ice no matter what lane you're running. So it's kind of just gotta be smart. How bad it is after 25 is how bad you treated the right rear the first 25 laps.
100%. I definitely can. I understand exactly what you're saying. It sounds like it just depends on the inputs, and so is there a way to be fast without roasting that tire?
There is, and you just got to know what pace to run and how not to slip your tires on the exit of the corner. So yeah, I mean there's a little bit involved with it.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate your insight, Matt. Who can we shout out after your stage 1 win?
Yeah, shout out my teammates, Team Conti, Martin PC, and you guys for calling the race.
All right. We'll see you next. Hopefully, we'll see you at the end of this thing, Matt.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks.
All righty, that was Matt DeCiani, and definitely appreciate that insight, Big Al. I think that really helps us out a lot to know that you really you can maybe avoid that ice phase if you're careful.
Yeah, good.
Here we go.
Like talking on the pace car, we're doubled up, man, and stage 1 went by really, really quick. So 1 caution. Hopefully, stage 2 will do, and I don't know, though. I think it being a little bit longer, I think we're probably going to at least see another caution.
And we're already at 1 caution for cause here. The one thing I want to keep in mind here, Randy Mullins is out here on 14-lap old tire.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I'll be honest, that's not like crazy bad, but I'll tell you what, when it's going to be bad will be about probably 10 or 15 laps from now. I think he'll be okay for a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be okay later.
Yeah, the question is going to be how long does it take him to make his transition? Because honestly, 10 laps on his tires, it is going to be a big difference, Brian. Green flag's out, and we are off and away. Randy Mullins taking the field out. He did get a good jump. Great start for Randy as the 54 car leads us on to the first lap of stage 2. Going to be making his way on around the corner there. Right behind him, everybody's trying to figure it out. Looks like Patrick Gitter is going to be on the note right now for P2, Clayton Hoffman. Gitter's looking on the inside. I don't think he's planning on staying back there too long. It's a great camera angle. Giving a shout out to our production manager, Kobe Jordan.
Yeah, Kobe doing a great job. I'll tell you, he was also doing a great job. Nick King right now running his way up into that 5th place position all over Matt DeCiani right now. I talked about Nick King. He was one of the fastest guys in practice, and I think he was ready for this race here tonight. It looks like that driver there looking like he's got some speed. The Majulis, I do believe, setup's driver taking 4th place.
Yeah, Nick was moving pretty good through the field earlier, but he did kind of get into a little bit of it was just a little bit of bad magic, I think we'll call it. This bad magic when you just find yourself in a bad spot on the track. Got a car into the wall there. That is going to be Paul Hill.
Yeah, Paul Hill, very fast here tonight, but it looks like he's been having a little bit of handling woes, just a little bit of issues. I mean, of course, very fast race car, but it just, if you make a mistake and hit that wall, it's going to take a lot of speed out of that race car, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing from Hill as he's kind of on the back of Mark Sanchez. You see Greg Wachinski's right behind him in about that 12th place position. Jeffrey Souza, who was up in the top 5 earlier, now is in the midst of the pack. He's in about 16th place. For the most part, everybody is kind of cool, calm, and collected. No one really wanting to push the issue at the beginning of stage 2.
Yep, not time yet. Not yet time. You really got to be smart, and that's what these drivers know. This it's not like there's somebody back there telling them what to do. This is how they made it to this level. But if you haven't figured it out yet, this is not the time to be aggressive. This is the time to just kind of sit back, take it easy, let the race come to you, let the car come to you. Don't force it. Because if you do, you're going to find yourself all the way in the back of this thing once it gets down to the wire.
Randy Mullins still in control of the race right now. He's under fire, though. Might not have control long. Is now the 92. Clayton Hoffman is stalking his prey. And I got to be honest, Big Al, Clayton has not been in Clayton form here lately. He has not been in the race-winning way that I think Clayton is usually in. I mean, usually we see Clayton out here dominating every single race we see him in, but that hasn't been what we've seen. Oh, caution flag.
Caution is out. Man, that came suddenly and quick as we're trying to figure out what just took place.
I have no clue.
have
I'm looking,
nobody
and I'm
with
not.
major
I'm not
damage.
seeing anything. This was definitely an iRacing thrown caution. This was not a misstep or a missed throw. I think that if somebody has had to wreck, I almost want to maybe think it could have been the 34. I don't know, because I mean he's a lap down. Last
Yeah.
lap he was 36.7. I think it was the 34 of Benjamin Stevens.
Now, he was a lap down because he did actually stay back in the pit to get all of his damage fixed. So, if anything, I figured that would have made him get a little faster. I mean,
Well, I'm looking at him. I just rewinded a little bit here to see exactly if it was him or not. Oh, no, was that? Oh, no, you're not going to believe it. Randy Drumhiller, I should say. The 44 of Drumhiller. Yeah, he actually spun it around and into the outside wall. His season is just going from bad to worse to just awful. Let's take a look.
oh, we had another car that got loose there, too.
Oh, and it looks like Paul Olson comes down into the 44. So this is not Drumhiller's fault at all.
Who's the car in front of Olsen right there?
I don't know.
Because that car got loose, and I think that might have been the prerequisite for Drumhiller getting out of the gas a little bit, and I think that was the difference.
Well, really, the difference is, I mean, I think what it is Paul Olson was reacting to what was going on ahead of him. I think he was watching someone getting loose ahead of him.
Right.
And unfortunately, Drumhiller was underneath Paul while Paul was focusing on what was ahead of him and not what was below him. So,
yeah,
unfortunate
man.
for Drumhiller.
You said it right. Just another bad night for Randy Drumhiller, man. And his woes continue, even though his season might not. But, what can you say? That doesn't really change.
I think, you know what? Let's talk to Randy. I think that's a good opportunity to talk to him. We don't give a lot of opportunity to talk to Randy Drumhiller. We have him. You want to grab him? We got him up here in the booth. Randy Drumhiller, we don't get a lot of chances to talk to you up here in the booth, but I figured we'd take the chance now. I got to be honest, man, the last few weeks have just been a drag for you. Do you feel like that's the case? Have you been disappointed?
Oh, all the luck I've had has been bad, it seems.
It definitely has been seeming like that. Now, from your perspective, what would you say happened in that last accident there? It just seems like, just give it from what you saw.
Well, I'm looking at it now, and I know Paul was up ahead of me, and he kind of wavered a little bit. I ducked to the inside. I thought I had him cleared. I must not have had him cleared.
Yeah, from our vantage point, it looks like, from my vantage point, it seemed like he came down on you, kind of looking. There was some stuff going on ahead of Paul, and it seemed like he came down on you. But it's unfortunate, Randy. I mean, how's the damage? Is it severe?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, we're definitely sad to see that, Randy. I mean, it seemed like last week at Bristol you had a magnet attached to that race car, and it seems like that continues here into Kansas.
Yeah, and I missed the spring race here, too, and I really like this track, so that's kind of a bummer.
Well, hopefully you're able to get it fixed, Randy. And can we give anybody a shout-out before we let you go?
Yeah, just everybody that helps me get this done. My wife mainly gives it the patience.
All right, Randy. Well, hopefully you're able to get it fixed and get back out there. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
All righty, that was Randy Drumhiller. Definitely you could hear the disappointment there, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, this guy's not going to be, praising. He's not partying right now, Brian. He's having a just a bad couple of weeks, and it's hard to shake that off because it seems like every time he gets up, somebody hits him again. He just wants to put his hands over his head and just, run.
Yeah, for sure. And guess what? We're at now 2 cautions for cause. So already we're at mine, and I got to be honest, we're only 50 laps into this race. I think one of you guys is going to be right. I think it's either going to be Kobe or you, Big Al, and I'm kind of starting to lean towards you, Big Al.
Well, it's and I don't want to be right, but I think the tires are going to make these cars a lot more difficult to handle. And then especially when you start getting down into the wee hours of the morning with these things, it's just going to be a little problematic, but we'll see. What do I know? I just run my mouth.
But here we go. Pace car dipping down and away. Green flag is back out. Clayton Hoffman up through the gears. Did anyone else take a chance to pop down pit road to take some tires here? That's not something I really looked at.
Did not see anybody taking tires or going down pit road, but I'm going to tell you, definitely the 54 car got not so good of a start that time, and it is really starting to throw waves through the field. You'll see the 6 of Brandon Passalacqua. He had to shift down to the inside. Nick King now getting ready to try to get his run going. You got Brian Johnson also seems to have his car back underway, and he is going to be also coming up in the fray as well. Derek Heitman's progressed a little bit backwards. You know, he did start this thing off, and first he was leading a couple of laps. Now he's running comfortably in 10th. We'll be watching this progression too to see if he can actually bring it back up to the front.
Oh, some blinking issues there for Abner Acosta. That's something that Abner's been having some issues with. I think it was at Watkins Glen, or maybe no, last week at Bristol, I should say. The 55 had some issues last week with some internet connection, so hopefully he's able to get that kind of worked out.
You know, and I don't know if he's sitting at a McDonald's using their Wi-Fi, but he should probably go somewhere like maybe CVS, somewhere that has a little bit more stable Wi-Fi, because what he's using is just not working.
We were talking about Randy kind of messing up that restart a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, he's rebounded very well since then. Look at him. He is rocketing his way back up to the front. So the tires really don't seem to be hurting him very much at the moment, even though he's about 10 lap holder tires than the guys around him. But here comes Nick King. I'll tell you, that 3, he is looking fast here tonight. I really like what I'm seeing from the 3 machine.
Well, look, at the point, we'll just see exactly what's going on with Drumheller right now. Randy Mullins is running the fastest lap there right now. He had a 30.596. I mean, that was pretty much smoking with those tires. So, yeah, they did wake up. But, Brian, right now he is right around that sweet spot, about 24, 25 laps. So we'll see if he continues to break pace, because this is something we need to see as well anyway.
Well, I mean, we heard Matt DeCiani say it. He said that if you slide the tires at all, if you're driving it really, really hard, you're gonna pay that price later. Is Randy doing that? I'm not exactly sure. I mean, he's showing a lot of pace, but is he abusing those tires? That's to be seen. I don't know. Of course, we do see a change for the lead, though. Randy Mullins has retaken the lead as he's going to rocket around the high side of Clayton Hoffman. Will Hoffman be able to stay side by side? I think Randy's going to get this pass completed. Yeah, he will. Very fast on the high side.
Not just fast on the high side. He's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Second fastest car on the racetrack, actually, only to Matt DeCiani. And we know DeCiani's been putting down some really blistering lap times. Now, here we go, because as the field comes around, they're going to slowly get in their sight. That's going to be lap traffic. That's going to be the 44 Randy Drumheller. So, you know, where do they catch him and what does he do? Randy doesn't have to do a thing. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we get there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a really good question. I don't know what's going to happen when we get there, but you know, this is a track I think these guys aren't going to have too many problems getting around the lap car. I think that as long as the lap car is predictable, I think it won't be too big of a deal. Now, if the guys are battling for a position, now that's a different story. Now, if Clayton and Randy are side by side, or Nick King and Patrick Gitter are side by side and they encounter a lap car, then that does change things. Or if that lap car is maybe in a driver's preferred groove, that also could change things as well. But you know, I don't think it'll be too big of a deal, but it definitely could affect some things. We'll have to wait. See, problem for the 4 machine. Brian Johnson sideways. He saves it. We're going to have to take a replay on that one. Wow. Brian Johnson I don't even know what happened. I just saw him. He just went sideways. It could have been maybe did he get hit? It might have been by Paul Hill. I'm not exactly sure what just happened, but I just saw the 4. Yeah, this is going to be. So the 4 and the 26 touched a little bit. They touched a little bit.
Nice.
But look at the 4. Wow. He didn't touch the wall.
Awesome drift.
What a save.
That's going to be the save with the ball so far.
I don't think he touched the wall. Look at this. what a drive for Brian Johnson.
Yeah, because usually they whip back around on you. It was an awesome job there, that throttle management, to keep that thing pointed the right direction. So kudos to the forward Brian Johnson.
Yeah, I got to give him a ton of credit. But here comes the battle for the lead, once again heating back up as Clayton Hoffman has caught back up to Randy Bones. I got to say, I think Randy's tires are starting to bark at him. I think Randy's tires are starting to say, hey, why have you been abusing me?
Well, now, he went
Look
from
at that, see, there's the wall.
He went from running some of the fastest laps to now, he's on the struggle bus. He's driving the struggle bus. So, and when Clayton was behind him, I don't think that necessarily that maybe Randy was so much faster, but I think Clayton just him and Patrick Gitter have that ability to just kind of get behind guys and just chase them, and until they just fumble.
Yeah, and I think as well, I think Randy was just burning them up a little bit too much. I just think he was scorching them, and we heard from Matt DeCiani say that you can't do that. Like, you will pay the price. There will be some sort of cost associated with this, as we see now a battle for the lead once again heating up. Patrick Gitter up on the back bumper of the 92, side by side now, and look at Nick King entering the picture. I gotta say, the 3 machine, this might be a banner day for that driver. I'm not gonna say any more than that because I don't want to jinx him.
Yeah, we've seen him have some pretty solid performances, or the potential to have some pretty solid performances, but his biggest problem has always been finishing. So hopefully tonight he can be a closer on that deal and get that 3 car on the podium, man. We need to talk to you, Nick.
And a lot of people, I'm not really the superstitious type, but I know you give me, a lot of trouble about, oh, Brian, you just put the broadcaster's curse on this guy. A lot of people always say that. So I'm not going to put it on King. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but he's running really good.
Indeed he is, man. Indeed he is. And I'm just looking and I don't know if these guys are going to catch Drumhiller or not. Oh, Josh Schopper coming up on the back of Abner Acosta there. Just a little bit of whoop whoop, but okay though. Schopper is going to continue on. It did cost him just maybe a couple tenths of a second. I think he's okay.
And you got Greg Wachinski. He's running in that 12th place position right now. The 5 machine, he's got to run really well here tonight. I mean, he's one of those guys that's, I think, below the cut line right now, for the round of 8. So, a lot of these guys that barely scooted through into the round of 12, the pressure is not off. Like, the pressure is even worse.
They're all right here. Look, you got Mr. Schaffner, you got Mr. Wachinski, you got Abner right there, you got Heitman's
Wortman
out.
Jr.
Yep. Mr. Hill. Is Hill still?
Paul Hill's not in the playoffs. He joined the series too late. He would be though if he ran all the races. Alexander Carr, looking at him, he's racing with Jason Maines right now. He's one that he's the last car out of the 12. He's got to have stellar days today and at Talladega, and he's got to have a good day at the Roval as well.
Well, I'm not. Man, we're just tearing that wall up there. Why doesn't Jason Maines have numbers on his car? That's going to be the question of the day.
To make you ask questions. I think that's probably why he does it.
That's a finable offense in NASCAR. You guys remember when Bubba put the numbers on Bubba Wallace's car upside down, the roof numbers?
I don't remember that. I do not remember that. Yeah,
it wasn't too long ago, and that's when I found out that NASCAR is really picky about the placement of the decals on the car. They're looking every week, so.
Yeah, you make a little mistake like that, they're ready to find you. As Mark Sanchez under fire right now from the 55 of Abner Acosta, as well as you see Derek Heitman. Heitman, of course, who started this race in second place, now trying to work his way back up in to the front of the field. As Abner, I think, might get clear here, but Mark has been pretty fast here tonight as well. Mark, another driver. Sanchez, of course, that absolutely needs to have a good day today here to continue this forward momentum.
Yeah, all of these guys here need to do fast. Carson's out again. Don't know exactly what's going on. I'm looking to see what the culprit is. We were
Dave Hughes Jr. Dave Fuge Jr. here in the 13 machine.
And Jose Medina in the 48 must have got a little bit of that magic also.
So clearly major damage on the 13 machine. Yeah, I think this is the 13 just has an issue here, and unfortunately, see he's running up on the kind of close to the wall. He just gets loose. Just wow, it snaps.
That's right. The 23 was through him.
Oh yeah, this is where Medina just. I would almost want to. I want to see this from the cockpit because Medina hit him going full speed. Medina was going had to be going flying. I mean, look, he's not slowing down at all. He's slowing down now. He slowed down when he hit him.
Man, this is going to be interesting. We got two cars coming down pit road, right? The 21, the 26. Got more takers towards the back of the pack. But here's the deal. Once we get done with this, guys, I think we're still going to find ourselves in a green-white checker for the stage. I mean, I think we're going to be one to go on the stage at the end of this thing because we're only at lap 71 now. So that's just a potential for just another caution right there. That is the third caution for cause here this evening for a total of 13 laps.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to say the least. It's unfortunate, you know, Dave Fuge. It just shows you how the handling of these cars, how hard it is to drive these cars when they're on older tires. I mean, you can clearly see that.
And to point, Brian, everyone was running approximately 33 laps. So you're over that window there where it gets really sporty. You know, but you got to do something, right?
You got to hold your mouth right. I heard someone say that today at work, and I was like, I got a friend that always says that.
Got to hold your mouth right.
I heard that. I was like, you must be from North Carolina. They say, yeah, we're from North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were from Charlotte. They were, yeah.
That's awesome.
I was like, that sounds. My friend says that all the time. I was like, but yeah. All right, this is interesting. This is a big opportunity, though. Like you know, we just saw some guys pop down pit road and take a set of tires. I like that call because a lot of these guys that are up front right now, they're going to be popping down as soon as this stage ends, and that's going to give you a ton of track position.
Yeah, because if you come now, you don't necessarily have to take tires again because, you know, but one thing that I find interesting, Randy Mullins, yet to pit, he's got 42, be close to 45 on the restart. And
He's doing pretty good.
And he's up in the top 5. So, you know, man, that was the old Pontiac paint scheme though in that mellow yellow car.
Yeah, he's kind of the exception. I think he's been somehow still fast while not. He's still somehow able to kind of maintain positions. So watch out for the 54. I mean, he might be able to make something happen here. If he could just hold on, I think that's what Randy's trying to do. At least hold on to this track position, hold on to this top 5, especially for the stage points.
Hey, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be the key here. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. I do believe lights are going to go out on the pace car this time.
I think we'll have us a 3-lap shootout. No, probably actually more like a 2-lap. This is going to be, like you said, a green-white checkered essentially.
This is going to be exciting.
I'm definitely excited. I don't know about you people at home. Definitely excited to see who is going to get some stage points. Who tonight is going to lock themselves in to the round of 8?
And, you know, I've never really been a fan of stage racing, but tonight is one of those times where it's definitely the exception because, I mean, this is exciting, you know. And I guess that's the reason why they incorporated stage breaks. Because there were times way back in the day, man, where, you know, these guys would go race for 500 miles and there would be like 3 cars on the lead lap at the end of the thing.
Yeah, that's when you would put truck tires on it just so the tires wouldn't wear out.
Old ply tires.
Here we go. Clayton Hoffman going to be leading us to green here. Nick King running up in 2nd place.
I think King's got a pretty good solid shot. If he can just get a good launch, he'll be side by side with Clayton. Now, we know Clayton's probably been holding back on his tires, saving them a little bit, but also, Brian, I think these guys have similarly been kind of running wide open as well. So it's just going to be interesting to see how this one shakes out. Pace cars
Here we
off
go.
the way.
Time to find out as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. And Clayton Hoffman up to the gears. Nick King a little bit wiggly on the restart. Not able to get up to the gears or get that loud pedal pressed without it spinning a little bit there. And already we got a little bit of a counter keg situation.
Yeah, Randy
right on the edge of top 5.
Right up in front of him. So that go Randy, he is definitely bringing the tape stretched out, stating his case for his 10-lap plus old tires.
Yeah, it's not bothering him too much.
This is going to get real sporty here, Brian, because you look, we're 4 wide here. We got Schaffner, Sanchez goes flat sideways. He slided back into the back of the field. We just throw up a bunch more cars. Caution is out, and I think that one is going to bring stage 2 to its knees. Let's unpack this. Josh Schaffner, Corey Saucier, Benjamin Stevens, and Greg Wachinski, all with the dreaded meatball flag. Jason Lanes does have just a standard black flag. We'll just see exactly what happens with that. But man, wow, what a doozy.
Yeah, and you see Mark Sanchez. I mean, I think him. I don't think Mark really did anything wrong there. I think that they were just 4 wide, and you see that Josh comes underneath the 29, and they were just too close. They were just too close for comfort. The 90, of course, Corey Saucier, nowhere to go right there. That's going to be a tough one to unpack later, I'll tell you that. And unfortunately, Mark Sanchez and Josh Schaffner, both playoff drivers, and their races are probably over after that.
And Wachinski also, don't forget, he also has that meatball flag. And look, here's the deal. The meatball flag for those guys, at a minimum, it means that they're taken out of contention. Because, this is it right here. This is going to be your last thing. And I mean, you don't want to tear your car up. At a minimum, you're thinking it's a broken toe link. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like the guys are coming down pit road, though. Looks like we got some guys coming down pit road. We would take a step away. We'll do that a little bit later. I think we're going to see possibly another caution, or we'll just do a commercial break later. Right after this pit stop, though, we're going to go ahead and talk to Clayton Hoffman. I don't feel like we have enough time for a commercial, but what an accident there. I think that's going to change the rest of the playoffs. That one accident is going to absolutely be a butterfly effect. It's going to be like a wrecking ball that's going to destroy a lot of playoff hopes as we see Clayton Hoffman going to win the race off pit road. Well, let's go ahead and grab him up here. Big Al, is that who you want to talk to? I'm sorry to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's grab him up if I can find it. All right, we got him in the booth.
Clayton Hoffman, Big Al, up in the booth. You got me.
Sure.
So, if I were to give you one word to say the biggest factor of what's going on down there tonight, first off, congratulations to your Stage 2 victory, first and foremost. But if I give you one word to sum up what's going on down there tonight, what would that word be?
Crazy weather. It is so cold out here. It's changed a lot of the aspect of the racing, and you're gonna see a lot of guys realize that probably and change how they're racing. You gotta make fuel, or you have to change tire pressures, change those spring perch offsets to try and compensate for the weather. Hopefully, I made some good changes here because I felt really good. The only place on the track I'm struggling is just getting into turn 1. Everywhere else, I feel are awesome. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. There's going to be surprise people that are running really loose setups probably that are going to be fast. There's going to be people that like tighter setups that might not last a full run without hurting that right front a lot. So yeah, the weather's really thrown a curveball to everybody, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We hadn't even talked about that up here, but man, you're definitely making it look easy down there. So, are the tires going to hold up for the long run? Has the fall off of tires been an issue for you?
No. There's not going to be a big fall off of like blowing a tire. It's just going to be your pace and how you can enter the corners. This wind's really blowing you tight into turn 1. So it's very different from officials have been this week, of the 3 I've ran. So yeah, you're really a lot tighter into turn 1, a lot looser into turn 3. So yeah, it's a bit of a curveball, and your tires are not gonna fall off. You're just gonna lose time whenever you wear one of your tires too much, and it's gonna be the right front most likely on most people.
Man, that's going to be unfortunate for a lot of drivers that don't have your experience, man. I'll tell you what, we appreciate you taking the time to take our call here. We're going to let you get back to it. Who you want to shout out for your Stage 2 victory?
Shout out to Nitro Racing. Shout out to Kenny for the league. You guys for broadcasting it. Always a pleasure racing here. I think we got a bunch of new people in here tonight, and we had a couple wrecks just because I think people are not used to racing around each other. And with this curveball on this track, I mean, I think when guys are going to send it into the corner, it's just going to be a little unpredictable because we're going so fast because it's so cold. So I think we're going to have probably a caution in this last stage. But yeah, thank you all, and yeah, we're about to restart.
All right, good luck to you, boss. We'll see you later.
Yeah, a little bit extra there. Clayton had to add there about the caution, so we'll see if his prophecy comes true.
Great insight, though, Brian.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that about the weather being a little bit different than it is in officials. That's definitely interesting. Patrick Gitter, though, up to the gears as the green flag is out for stage number 3. Also, Paul Whitney up to the front. I think a lot of guys that pitted on right before that last caution kind of gained a lot of track position as a result, as we're almost 4 wide for the second place position. Patrick Gitter, he's driving away because of these guys battling so hard for second.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's right now trying to figure out where to get in, this being the longest stage of the race that we got in front of us. And, like Clayton said, I mean, I don't know how many guys actually have access to listen to that, but a lot of guys are going to be surprised how their cars are going to be handling. So that's going to make that conservation piece even more key here, Brian, especially if we get on, just coming up almost on halfway through this thing.
No problem for Bender. John Bender having some problems. I do believe we see, as well as the 61, I think that is.
Yep, John Bender.
Connor Banks also having some issues. Caution flag is back out on the speedway. As we see exactly what happened. Here we see John Bender. He's right behind Brian Johnson. Gets a good run up to Johnson. I'm not sure exactly. It's not happening yet. I think it's going to possibly happen into turn 1. I think he might have he's probably hit the bump. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He hit the bump. There's a bump in the middle of 1 and 2, and if you hit it just wrong, it'll unsettle the race car, and that's exactly what happened. It just unsettled his race car, and he overcorrected it into the fence. And wonder what happened to Connor Banks, because Connor was kind of a separate thing. Let's see here. Connor might have been trying to avoid John
61, 61 runs right into him here.
He was trying to, yeah, okay, you're right. A little bit of net code, actually. A little bit of net code. And then you see the 29.
And, don't forget, Sanchez is a playoff driver. So, not where he wants to be, not what he wants to get caught up in. It's just, this is just proven to be problematic. That's the word we're going to use.
Yeah. Unfortunate, though. I think now's a good time. We didn't really get a chance to play some commercials earlier, so let's go ahead and take a step away and take that opportunity now. We'll be right back.
Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough in hand, stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust. That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it Or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I folded. Get a New York style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. I do believe the pace car lights are getting ready to go out as we get ready to go back green here. We just saw a crash involving, I do believe, the 61, as well as I think we saw some issues there with John Bender. Bender, of course, hitting a bump in the middle of 1 and 2, which unsettled the race car, and unfortunately he overcorrected into the outside wall. The 61 was involved in this incident, so definitely has been, I think, an odd race tonight, Big Al. I mean, usually we don't see a whole lot of cautions in the ISCA, but tonight it's kind of chaos at Kansas.
Yeah, halfway through this thing, Brian, and it feels like we've been in a caution for quite a while. So, yeah, it's been a long night here, and I think it's going to continue to be a long night. Track temperature, though, definitely something I do believe that's playing a factor here, man. It's 68 degrees in the seats and 74 degrees is that track temp. But another thing that Clayton said, he mentioned the wind. We got a pretty consistent wind out of the north that's fluctuating somewhere. Listen, I said consistent, fluctuating between 11 and 14 miles an hour. So these guys are definitely having their hands full down there tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And some of these guys maybe don't know how to adjust on the race car to compensate for things like that. So, I mean, that could also lead to some of these issues. And I don't know how to adjust a race car to be able to handle a wind that's coming into turn 1. So, guys like Clayton, though, he knows what he's doing. He builds setups, but a lot of these guys don't.
Everybody doesn't build setups, and if they don't know, I mean, tire pressure and reach arc and.
But there we are. Green flag is back out. Patrick Gitter up to the gears, able to get a really good start there as he's going to be able to be uncontested into turn number 1. Kenny Powell driving up in the top 5 right now, battling right now, I do believe, with Jeffrey Souza, as well as you see Matt DeCiani in tow as well. And we talked about Kenny. I mean, Kenny feels that this is one of his best mile and a halves. And here he comes. He's battling for the podium right now.
Yeah, definitely good. Any kind of momentum these guys can pick up, no matter what stage you're in here in your season. It's always good if you can change your luck, because sometimes, Brian, that bad luck just sticks around for so long, you just don't know what to do about it.
And now we're battling for the lead here. Chevy versus Toyota. Patrick Gitter versus Clayton Hoffman. As Clayton trying to go side by side for the lead, not quite able to get the lead away from the 21, but I don't think he's done yet. Here he goes once again. This is a track that is definitely known for the ability to be able to do slide jobs. So we're going to see a lot of crossovers, I do believe, still tonight.
And what
just crossed the halfway point.
Yeah, what you're essentially seeing, ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle for the race right here. This is the battle for the win, because these two guys are going to battle now as opposed to battling later. And essentially, they're both going to work their tires down together, just trying to get that lead position, because track position obviously is going to be the key here. You can see exactly what each one of these two gentlemen are doing in order to pursue it or to secure it, man.
And one thing I'm noticing is that it just seems like Clayton's not able to actually make the pass, because, I mean, Patrick's running a higher groove, and here comes a different strategy from Clayton. Clayton's like, okay, you want to run a higher groove? I'll run my side in 3 and 4, and then I'll shoot underneath you on the front stretch. I love that strategy. He was able to kind of build a lot of momentum, but here comes probably possibly a crossover from Patrick Gitter. Can he be able to get the pass completed? I think it's going to be the same thing. Essentially what Clayton has been having to deal with, trying to battle on the inside. Now Gitter's got to battle on the inside. Now, if I was in Gitter's shoes, after seeing what Clayton just did, I would do the same thing that Clayton did. Is they're almost bouncing off of each other. They're battling, and we're not even after the first green flag pit stop. These guys are battling like it's the end of the race.
Well, essentially, it is, Brian, because whoever gets that position now, this is key. Whoever gets that position is going to keep that position. So, essentially, right now, this is almost as big of a battle as it would be if this were the last lap. I mean, you can tell what they're both willing to do just to keep it. You never would see these two guys battling this hard at this stage in the race.
Yeah, I think they're battling for clean air. I mean, clean air is so important at this racetrack. I mean, clearly we've been seeing handling being the main thing here at this track. Handling has been so important, and clean air gives you that handling. I think that's why Clayton's willing to fight for it. I think that's why Patrick Gitter is willing to fight for it.
Yeah, those that know, they're definitely going to show up for the fight, but the people that don't really understand what's going on, they're more like along for the ride, if you will. And I'm not saying that to insult anyone's racing intelligence, because, their racing IQ is definitely a lot higher than mine. There are just so many different facets that go into this. There's so many different ingredients, decisions, adjustments. It's a lot more to it than just, as you say, pressing the loud pedal.
Nick King, though, putting a lot of pressure on the 96 right now. Just having a great day in that 3 machine. Nick King going to be on the outside. He should be able to get a pretty good run through 1 and 2. He's kind of in that territory where that bump is, but it looks like that car is handling the bump very well. And he is going to get the pass completed. Now up to 3rd place. 3 is in 3rd. How about that? He's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now, Nick King. Of course, Clayton Hoffman last time by, though, turning his fastest lap of the race, a 30.490. And you talked about it, Big Al. Once, Clayton has this sorted out, it seems like he's going to start to drive away. And that essentially was why that battle was so important. Now he has control. He has the reins. Of course, we still do have to have a green flag pit stop. No one, I do believe, is secure to make it on fuel here to the end. Now, pit stops at this racetrack can be a little bit tricky. Very easy to spin coming to pit road with the banking change.
Yeah, Clayton's definitely running his 2 fastest laps of the racetrack back-to-back. So now you're definitely seeing a guy who is, confident. And he said that he would know, that we would know if he made the right adjustments. Well, Brian, I think he made the right adjustments.
Well, if anybody can make the right adjustments, it would be a driver like Clayton Hoffman. I mean, he knows what he's doing when it comes to adjusting on these race cars, and he's flying right now. I mean, look at him go. Now Nick King, though, attacking for that 2nd place position. King, I think, has gotten not quite complete, but he's been making that top side work really well.
But it's going to be problematic because, once again, we still have a long way to go. I mean, 97 laps to go. These guys are going to try. They've already got 20. They're going to try to split that in half. So, yeah, they're going to 45 laps are no fun on these tires. So these guys they're going to be greater than that, Brian. So you got to remember how these things are going to handle 20 laps from now. That's the one thing that everybody has to keep right there on their dash.
That's definitely true. I think that is 100% a fact. How you drive it right now is going to impact how it drives in 20 laps. And so I really think that we're going to see some guys that are looking like superheroes right now, look terrible later. So, I mean, could it be a Nick King looks like that? Could it be a Clayton Hoffman even looks like that? I mean, look at Clayton. Clayton's out to a 2.6 second lead He just drove away. Somebody just.
Well,
Where's he at? He's not even in the same
He's
zip
running-
code right now.
he's running almost 6 seconds faster laps than the guys that are out there. Well, 0.6 of a second faster.
I was about to say 6-second laps. Man, that's wow.
Yeah,
He can win a race.
You remember those people that you met from North Carolina? I'm gonna send them back to see you.
Yeah. What was it? Thelma Lou. You gonna send her to my house?
Yeah, something like that. No, man,
You gonna knock on my door to whoop me?
you might end up missing it, and they'll put that right back to me. So yeah, I wish you no ill will. But speaking of ill will, I mean, look, Nick King is doing his thing. He is in second place. In when Nick gets a car that's running good for him, that's one thing we definitely can tell. He gets up there and he goes with it, man, and he is feeling himself tonight. That car's running stout and stellar. But I think everybody's just trying to. I don't think these cars are lining up as well as as fast as some of these guys would like them to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what exactly is going on. It's interesting to me that Clayton was able to drive away like he was. I mean, at a track like this, to where it's a mile and a half. Usually, in a mile and a half, you don't see someone drive away like that. But like you said, I think that he made an adjustment, and I think that adjustment is really, really working for him. Now, I do see his lap times are starting to fall off. They are starting to become a little bit more even with what Patrick Gitter is running. You know, Gitter, I think, was kind of saving his equipment a little bit more, as we see now. Matt DeCiani, I think, oh, there he goes. Yeah, Matt DeCiani at the 3.
He keeps it going, Brian. We're not going to have a caution. Hey, Nick King, this bud's for you, my buddy. That just became the save of the race.
He's probably not going to see it that way. He's going to look at it as I'm wondering, I want to see exactly what happened. You see the 1 kind of drive underneath the 3 here. And I wonder if we can get a top-down view. I think that'll be a little bit, give us a little more information right here. Yeah, the 1 I would clearly put that on DeCiani. I feel like DeCiani came up into the 3. I don't really think Nick did anything wrong there. Good save for him though.
And, you know, and that's what we talk about. That's what happens to Nick. You know, he comes up a little bit short on the putt, man, and that's what's keeping him from putting that thing on the podium. And I don't think that was his fault at all. I'm not even alleging that was remotely his fault. You know, it wasn't one of those racing deals, I guess what we'll call it.
No, I mean, I think exactly that's what it was. I think that Matt was trying to get everything he could out of the race car. I don't think Matt did that maliciously. Not at all. I don't think that was a malicious incident on either side. I just think that was just racing close. They were just racing close. And it's unfortunate because Nick had such a great day going for him. And he still does have a great day going for him. He's still in 9th. He saved the race car. No harm, no foul. I mean, at least it's not going to be as bad as it could have been.
You know, here's the thing. He still has time to recover, meaning, you know, try to get the heat back out of those tires. Try to get them back to where they're at, where they're not kind of glazed over. And you know, kind of get the horse to calm down, if you will, because he's still not out of this thing. He has to shake that off and get ready to go back, get a strong pit when that comes, when it's time to go down pit road. Because that's where I think he's going to make up his time right now. But Clayton Hoffman, speaking of making up time, he is definitely not losing any time. And I mean, maybe I think he kind of backed it down himself just because his car is running fast. You know, he's really got to pace himself. And I don't think he's really worried about anything right now.
Hey, he's really running well right now. Paul Hill now all the way up to 3rd place. He's like 0.2 faster than the drivers around him. And I think in a lot of ways this is showing that some of these guys are probably running slower than they have to, or should I say they're just maintaining their equipment. That they're not really trying to run their fastest laps because they know that if they really abuse it, they'll pay for it later. I think that's kind of showing that no one's. I think everybody's really being patient and a little bit cautious when it comes to what they're the pace they're running. I really like that. It really shows a lot of self-control.
Yeah, control's definitely going to be the operative word here as we get into the later hours of this race.
Clayton Hoffman, though, 3.7 seconds, 3.8 second gap right now that he has, and this is insane. You never think to see this at a 1.5 mile racetrack. I do want to mention, though, the fuel window has opened up. If someone wanted to make a green flag stop, they could and probably successfully make it from here. I don't think you would want to do that, though, considering you would still have about a 58-lap run to the end.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to probably wait, and you'll see them within the next 15 to 20 laps.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's true. I'd say that's a good guess, a good estimate, Big Al. I think about 15 to 20 laps is correct. Just kind of split it in half. It's, watching now Brandon Pasalacqua take them 3 wide on the bottom. 3 wide. This is for the, I do believe, 10th place position.
And you see King is
yeah.
He's still trying to get those tires to come back to him. So he's struggling a little bit back with his position. But when you put that in perspective and you see that Brandon Pasalacqua is all the way back here, you got to, Brandon Pasalacqua is running comfortably in 12th. Like, what's really going on?
No, 100%. I'm right there with you. I mean, usually we expect Brandon to be running up in the top 3. Like, Brandon has... Oh, King! And Brian Johnson just beating and banging a little bit on each other. That opens the door for Jose Acosta to go through the middle 3 wide. That was a little bit of a scary thing. So, a lot of drivers... Seems like there's a magnet on the threes car in a lot of ways. But no, I mean, going back to what I was saying, Brandon, you don't expect Brandon to be running just safely in 10th.
Yeah,
you expect Brandon to be running up in the top 5, or leading this race. So I think, I don't know if this is by design. I think it might even be by design, though, Big Al. Or maybe they missed on the setup this week. I mean, we got to think it's that guys they're not going to hit on the setup every week. And we also, Clayton even mentioned it, that everyone is kind of a little bit shocked at how different the conditions of the track are compared to what the officials are like,
Yeah, a lot of people just got punched in the face, man, and that's never cool, especially when you're not braced for it. When you come out here and you get in a race car and you've been driving that same car for 3-4 days this week, and you've been competitive with it, and then all of a sudden it's doing things that it hadn't done. It's literally like getting bucked off a horse. So, and it's all about how you recover from that. Some guys doing well, some guys not doing so well. But I'm gonna tell you, everybody is gonna be praying because their best shot at doing anything is gonna be when they actually come down pit road. So they're gonna be watching Clayton. And the key's going to be is when Clayton comes, everybody's coming.
Yeah, I bet they're like, someone's probably saying, Clayton, what kind of adjustments did you make, man? Can you help us out? Clayton's probably going to be silent. You're going to hear crickets. And everybody's just going to have to try to guess to see what kind of adjustments they can make to help that race car do a little bit better. As we're watching Abner Acosta, of course, push, I think, 54, trying to get around. That's Kenny Powell. But looks like the 54 is going to get put 3 wide as Abner. He says, I'm not going to try to push you past Kenny Powell. I'm going to try to get past both of you. The two from one special, Abner Acosta up to 2nd place.
Yeah, and it's just really, the field is starting to kind of spread out a little bit. And this is where I kind of worry about guys, because some guys are going to, they've been out there running maybe a little bit harder than they needed to. And so, now I think that's going to force a lot of people's hands as far as when they come down pit road, man. If not,
fall off is pretty bad right now. You look at the lap time fall off. I mean, you see what Clayton Hoffman was running earlier, 30.4, 30.490. Other guys hitting 30.5, 30.6, 30.7, somewhere in that range. These guys are hitting 31 threes now, 31 fours, 31 sevens. I mean, there's a lot of fall off right now. Some guys have fallen off a second, so that's a lot. That's massive. That's showing me that tires matter a ton, and how you abuse them is going to matter as well.
And you had a lot of guys that were out there and they were giving it everything they had because they were trying to catch the guys in front of them, which that should never be in your plan. You know, if you've studied your music, you need to keep the tempo and the pace of the music that you got, because if you actually start playing to the pace of somebody else's instrument, man, it's just not going to work out. And that's what we're seeing. I think a lot of guys just kind of went out and arbitrarily, burn their stuff up, and we're dealing with that right now.
Yeah,
But
I mean, they're
then
going to
again-
have to deal with it until green flag stops.
But then again, we got 40 plus laps on our equipment, so I think we're within 5 of the pit window.
Yeah, no, I think some guys are getting ready to come probably very, very soon, and it could be a valid strategy to kind of short pit, because I think that with how much fall off there is, you're going to gain some time by doing that. But if you abuse the tires again, then it's going to not really help you out as much. But if you were to short pit and then maybe just kind of take it a little bit easier and be a little bit smoother, you could maybe hang on a little bit better on the longer run and still be able to hold on to that track position. So, I mean, it just really depends on how you hurt those tires. Abner Acosta battling right now with Matt DeCiani, and you can see Matt's struggling. DeCiani that car is not handling very well. One driver that's the fastest on the racetrack, though, I got to say, Brandon Pasolaco. We were talking about him. It's like, oh, how was he in 12th? He's not in 12th anymore. He's up to 7th, and he is quickly running down Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, putting up pretty good times, but Matt DeCiani's, he's fallen off a little bit.
That he is.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong level there, but I see it now.
Yeah, his lap times are not looking pretty right now. He's one of the slowest in the top 10 right now. So he's struggling. He might be one of those candidates that kind of like, hey, I'm going to go down pit road.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these guys are probably very much considering popping down pit road very, very shortly. Jose Acosta got a... What?
It's killing them as they run around every lap. They're looking over there and they're like, Freedom's right there. It's fresh tires. It's just getting.
Oh, here comes one.
Here
comes Jeffrey Souza. He's going to be the one that initiates.
And it's gonna light up.
Jeffrey Souza pitting, I do believe, from the top 5.
You don't
Very
want
good run.
You don't want Clayton to pit before you. I mean, meaning that you really want to go in when he goes in. That's the bottom line, because I mean, right now he's the bull. Well, he's not the bull. He's that little rabbit that everybody chases. Oh, but they give up. They crack under pressure. Green flag pit stops
Paul
at
Hill,
the gun.
Patrick Gitter, both coming to pit road. And Patrick Gitter, of course, pitting from the second place position.
That's interesting that second and third pitted, but yet everyone else continued on.
Yeah, that is definitely very curious. That it's interesting. Here comes Clayton Hoffman coming to pit road. He does not want these guys to gain too much out of that short pit. He locks up the tires. Does he get speeding? Very close. Very big lock up there from the 92. I'm hoping he wasn't over speed. As you can see, Brandon Pasolaco come down.
Clayton
Hoffman speeding. I knew it. He locked it up and was sliding the tires, and I knew that the only reason he would do that is if he was speeding. And so clearly, Clayton Hoffman, big mistake. He's going to get held on pit road for that, and that is going to give a huge opportunity to someone else to win this race.
Yeah, but don't forget, Clayton giveth, Clayton taketh away. That's the one thing that you gotta hope that he can't get back out there, Brian. Put the hammer down and be as fast as he was, because if he is, that's a whole nother set of problems, because now he is literally going to hunt you. And we talk about different people that you would like to have in your rearview mirror, but Clayton Hoffman chasing you, trying to get ahead of you, that's not what you want. Now, also, additionally, how is that going to affect the handling of his car? Because we saw what he would risk to be in the clean air. Not going to be an option for him now as he continues to hold on pit road.
Now, he needs a car. He needs something to get back on the lead lap, because this is absolutely going to hurt Clayton's race terribly. Yeah, I mean, he could recover, but he's going to need some sort of he's going to need something bad to happen for that recovery to happen. He's going to need a caution to happen in order to get that lap back. Otherwise, I think that this is going to be a major hit for his points as well if this continues the way it is. Unfortunate for Clayton Hoffman. But yeah, no, he's definitely going to be one that he's going to put some pressure on some guys that's going to be driving probably a little bit more aggressively to try to limit the bleeding that mistake has cost. And that's the thing, though, Big Al. We're getting ready to be in the round of 8. This is the round of 12. We have 2 more races after this. This is not the time to make mistakes. You cannot be speeding on pit road. Just like in real life NASCAR, your pit crew has to be on their A game. Or, just how, you see that in real life NASCAR where the pit crew has to be on the A game. Driver has to be, on the A game as well. In the ISCA, towards the end of the playoffs, we have to be perfect. You have to be flawless. You can't make mistakes like this. And Clayton Hoffman could have made I think he made a big one there. He made a huge one, and it's going to be costly.
He shot himself in the foot, Brian. Unfortunately, that would be what we would call a negligent discharge. And so, and Clayton's going to be the one that feels that. That was a self-inflicted wound, so there's no one else he can blame. I didn't throw the caution. Nobody ran into him. It's just one of those things, man.
And really the driver that's going to benefit from that the most is going to be Patrick Gitter. I mean, Gitter is the fastest car on the track right now. Essentially, I think, he is going to be the leader because here comes Jose Acosta coming to pit road. We got to wait for Mark Sanchez and Derek Heitman to still pit, I do believe. But Patrick Gitter
Heitman's not pitting again, bud. Derek Heitman came in like an off cycle a ways back, so Derek should be good to go to the end of this thing.
But he probably won't stay in the lead because, you see Gitter is closing in quickly on Derek Heitman. So we'll have to wait and see how this kind of all plays out. But at the moment,
definitely having very, very slow lap times compared to Patrick Gitter. Gitter's on there's a 12 lap difference there between the two. So I think that's probably going to be the biggest tell.
And what a race this has been. I'll tell you, this race is probably going to have the biggest impact on the rest of the playoffs. Just look at the amount of drivers that, needed a good race here tonight that didn't have that good race. You look at like Greg Wyszynski, Mark Sanchez, guys that should have had a better race. Or no, Mark Sanchez is not having a terrible race. But like Greg Wyszynski, needed a good race.
Mark's having a terrible race.
Well, yeah, he's kind of in desperation mode, staying out. He needs something to happen and go his way.
Where's he running at?
The lead. He's in the lead though, but he's gonna probably still have to pit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
49 laps on his equipment right now. He's not gonna. There's no way he makes it to the end on this run. You can see he's got damage. This is kind of an act of desperation from the 29.
And once he does pit, then you'll see where he truly falls into the order, and it's not going to be in the top 5. So Sanchez, not having a good playoff day for him because he's been involved in at least one skirmish. And this is not a racetrack where having a beat-up car plays in your favor.
No, definitely not. Very much so a car to where you're very aero-dependent. Watching some battling a little bit further back, I see Randy Mullins battling with Abner Acosta. This is for the 6th place position. This is a good battle.
Mark is rolling down 32.32 zeros on his lap time, so those aren't the laps that are going to keep you out there, to be honest. He's a true second plus off the pace.
Yeah, he's going to get caught eventually by the leaders anyway. So this is just a desperation call. He's hoping that a caution will come out and possibly save him and give him a bunch of track position. I think that's exactly what Mark is hoping for. I don't think it could happen. I don't think it will. I don't know, though. The closer we get to the end of this race, the more crazy I think it's going to get. I'm watching side-by-side Matt DeCiani and Brandon Pasalacqua. They're battling for the 8th place position. All it takes is one little mistake. We've already seen in this stint, or in this green flag period, close times where we could have saw a caution. I mean, what was it? Nick King, going sideways, saving it. That could have been a caution right there. So we could see another instance to where we have a close call that does bring out a caution this time around. So who knows?
Well, yeah, because especially as the tires creep up to that magic crash moment for us, it's going to be towards the end of the race where drivers are going to be doing amazing things to try to improve their position. So yeah, I think we're definitely in store for a little bit more of a rough patch.
Definitely could be the case. So let's take a look down through the top 10 and see where exactly everybody's running. Mark Sanchez, of course, still out there on over 50, believe about 60 lap tires right now. He's in first place. Derek Heitman's in second place. He's on a little bit of a different pit strategy as well. Patrick Gitter, he has caught up to Heitman and is going for this second place position, which I do believe is going to be essentially the net lead. And Gitter's taking second place. Paul Hill is in fourth. Jeffrey Souza sits in fifth. Randy Mullins is in sixth. Abner Acosta is in seventh place. Matt DeCiani in eighth. Brandon Pastelacqua is in ninth. Kenny Powell, he's in that 10th place position. I think now's a good time. We're going to take a step away, pay some more attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with the conclusion here of the race here at Kansas.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough in hand, stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust! That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I fold it. Get a New York-style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here at Kansas Speedway. The Papa John's 250 still underway. We're 146 laps into the race. While we were away, Patrick Gitter has taken the lead. Of course, Mark Sanchez pitting from that lead for his final pit stop of the night. Derek Heitman sitting in that second place position. He's about 2 seconds back from Patrick Gitter. I do believe Patrick Gitter has got this thing pretty much well in hand. Right behind him, though, Greg Wychinski's been essentially drafting with the 21 and sticking right there with him. I think he's trying to see if maybe he can get that lap back, or should I say, actually, that's Derek Heitman that the 5's behind, so mistaken identity there for just a second. But definitely been a good run for Patrick Gitter. And do want to remind all that Clayton Hoffman had a speeding penalty on pit road, and unfortunately that took him from, I do believe, contention to win the race, and he's probably hoping for a caution, though. But right now, Patrick Gitter is holding the keys to the race, Big Al.
Yeah, I know, and it's still rocking steady, Brian, but we still have quite a ways to go. Still some 20 laps before this thing is actually in the books. So in those 20 laps, anything could actually happen. Because remember just how eventful stages 1 and 2 were. Stage 3, not as eventful, Brian, but it still had its share of slides and rebounds, I guess you would say, instead of ups and downs. But we're slowly trying to get this one in the books, and I think it is going to come down to be somewhat of an exciting finish here.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think these guys are going to definitely be battling hard for second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, even though they're not, some of these guys aren't fighting for the win exactly, because I think Patrick's, if we stay green, it's gonna. I think he's gonna keep the lead. I mean, right now he's been one of the fastest on the long runs, but I think even still, it's important for these top 5, top 10 positions. I mean, we got playoff drivers that, if they just get one position over another playoff driver, that's huge. Speaking of which, Randy Mullins, he just hit the wall. He just lost 2 spots just by that little mistake right there. That's big. I mean, losing 2 positions, that's points in the playoffs, Big Al. We talked about mistakes. You cannot make them at this point in this season.
Yeah, if anybody can tell you that would be my main man, Clayton Hoffman. It's just, I think that is going to haunt him as much as it's going to haunt anybody, because like I said earlier, this isn't the part of the season where you can have a bad race. Every lap counts here in the playoffs. Every point counts.
Yeah, 100%. Brandon Pasalacqua starting to move through the field once again. He's up to now 6th place. Just got by Matt DeCiani. They're still kind of battling, actually, as you see DeCiani tries to pull a crossover maneuver. Pasalacqua definitely been fast on the long run. He's another one. I mean, he's the most consistent driver, I think, in the ISCA. I mean, has the most top 5s out of anybody this season. And I think he's trying to keep that going. I mean, he's not in the top 5 right now. He's still got a ways to go to get up to Abner Acosta. I do see a 3-wide battle going on right now. Jose Acosta, Kenny Powell, and Randy Mullen. Oh boy, this is a scary little battle. It was 3-wide. They have kind of settled it out, but Jose, he's having a pretty good day today.
I think that was more. Yeah, I think it was more. I really don't want to run 3-wide with Jose at this moment, kind of thing, because Randy really was kind of get out of. Then he started on the high side. And he kind of dug down. The whole thing was just kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't want to be 3-wide, especially Jose, not being a playoff driver, and Jose can be aggressive. Very fast driver, but he can be very aggressive. Kenny Powell, though, battling right now with Randy Mullins. You see Alexander Carr. Now, this is the guy I have circled here, Alexander Carr. He just barely made it into the round of 12. Will he just barely make it into the round of 8? I mean, this guy, he's running really good right now. I mean, lap times, he's faster than a few of the drivers that are in front of him. Can he make it up into the top 10 and possibly get some points out of this race?
And he has actually kept his nose clean. He's been running a pretty clean, consistent race, and that's the reason why we haven't talked about him. He's always been somewhere around the middle, Brian, or somewhere, up in 15th, 12th, 13th. So, he's getting done what he needs to do. He just needs
he just passed Kenny Powell. Yeah, I mean, they've definitely had a strong season, I'd say, to be able to make it to the round of 12 at all is not an easy feat. It's not, especially in this series. He's in the playoffs. I mean, that's big deal, big battle going on though. These are two non-playoff drivers, Greg Carr and Kenny Powell, kind of beating and banging a little bit here for this 13th spot. Powell up into the outside wall.
And, you know, Powell, he's just definitely got to be a little deflated because here he was thinking that he actually had a shot to put that car on the podium at a minimum, but now he's going to struggle to even find the top 10. Even though he's out of the playoffs, so I think he still wanted to try to get a chance of winning this thing. You know, because a victory in the ISCA, you know, that's going to be key. And you kind of asked earlier, like, why is it so elusive for Clayton Hoffman? And I'm like, do you see who's running in this league every week? I mean, you literally have to be pitch perfect the entire performance, you know?
Well, usually when we see drivers like Clayton Hoffman, I mean, he is perfect the entire performance, but there's other guys that are running perfect as well. So it's like that just like you said, I mean, we got drivers like Patrick Gitter that if you give him a morsel, a little scrap from the table, he's knocking the table over and taking your race win.
Hey, 10 laps to go. That's where we're at right now, buddy. Getting ready to make some people's playoff dreams a little bit more closer to reality, and to some, it'll just take them a little bit further down the road. Who's going to fare the best? That's the question, because we're still not done yet.
Abner Acosta now battling with Jeffrey Souza. Abner has been having a very quiet day today, now up to 4th place. He might even possibly get a podium. He's sniffing on the back bumper of Derek Heitman right now, and also is not that far back from Paul Hill. Abner Acosta right now is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, and there he goes, scooting right by Derek Heitman. We haven't seen Abner in the top 5, or top 3, I should say, at all tonight. He has not been on the podium, hardly at all. I don't think he has been at all, to be honest with you. But that 55, here he comes. I don't think he's got a chance to win this race, but this is going to be a really good points day.
Well, it's go time. And if he saved anything, this is going to be the time to fully pull it out and display it. 36 laps on the equipment right now. Just 6 laps to go. I think that's plenty of time to make a move. We've seen what some guys did earlier with less laps than that. Actually, they were able to drive themselves to the front with just 2 laps in the shootout. So he can actually put the hammer down and make up some positions. Seems to be that's what he is doing. But I'm going to tell you one thing. One person is not even slowing down. That's Patrick Gitter. Continues to extend his lead, and he has that thing pointed towards winner circle. And I hope if you're listening to this, Patrick, we're going to judge your burnouts, buddy. So I hope you bring your A game.
A lot of battling going on further back here. I see Randy Mullins, Tim Wortman Jr., and Alexander Carr battling very hard for the top 10 right now. Alexander Carr he's trying to get as many points as he can, and you can't really blame the guy. And you see Randy Mullins trying to get as many points as he can. Tim Wortman Jr. All these guys are in the playoffs. They all need points. They all need to get as many points as they can so they can move on to the round of 8. And you're seeing that there's no lift at all. These guys are not cutting anybody any breaks. They're battling as hard as they can. I mean, when you're near the end of the season and you can see a trophy in the distance, that championship trophy, what are you willing to do? And you're seeing it play out right now. These guys are battling. They're willing to make those 3 wide moves that you wouldn't maybe make earlier in the race.
Yeah, you have to now. I mean, there's nothing to take home. You have to leave it all out there on the track, Brian. And that means, get your little elbows out and make it happen.
Here we go, though. I do believe coming up to the last few laps, as we're on lap 64, coming to lap 65, we're going to have 3 laps to go. And there goes, I do believe, Jeffrey Souza into the outside wall. He's going to get passed by Derek Heitman. And, of course, we see Brian Johnson as well. Brian Johnson very quick on this longer run. He's in 7th right now. As he runs up to that 6th place position, he's going to take that spot from Souza. And probably going to take a spot from Heitman as well. And go back into the top 5. So Brian Johnson definitely keeping that momentum going after winning that race last week at Bristol Motor Speedway. Look at Jose Acosta driving his way up possibly to get a top 5 as well.
Yeah,
Seeing
very
Abner
interesting
Acosta.
here. Brian's got to be really, really close here because he is still in the playoffs. He does not want to get himself in a situation where he kind of gets taken out because he's still got to finish this thing. 2 laps to go, Brian. This is what we've been waiting on. Everybody in the stands are on their feet.
Yeah, you saw Derek Heitman into the outside wall there. That was probably a pretty scary moment for Jose Acosta. He was able to avoid him, though. Abner Acosta has caught Paul Hill. Battle now on for second place. These two have a little bit of history, but it looks like Abner, he's going to get the pass completed. He moves up to the second place position. Patrick Gitter, though, it's going to be impossible to catch that man. He's 6 seconds ahead as Patrick Gitter rounds the exit of turn number 2. He's on the back stretch. He's going to enter turn number 3. And no one is even in distance, in spitting distance. He's in a different zip code. Patrick Gitter is going to absolutely win this race. The 21 is going to lock his way into the round of 8. What a show. I'll tell you what, I'd much rather lock myself in here at Kansas than try to lock myself in at Talladega or the Charlotte Roval. Well, Patrick Gitter just did that.
You know, in Talladega, in some senses, it's going to be like a road course, Brian, because, you know, everybody has, if you look at the road course, there are road course drivers that have a better chance at winning. With Talladega, it's like its own individual road course for everybody. You know, anybody that shows up has a chance of winning that race.
That's for sure. Everybody at you can show up to Talladega and win. That's for sure. Anybody can, but the thing is though, you also have to make the right decisions. You have to have the right dancing partners. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and trying to keep those banners separated. For those of you at home that are watching this, feel free to join us on Facebook and let us know. Rate Patrick's burnout. Let us know what you think. Give him a grade.
He very, very controlled.
He's doing
I just wish, I don't know why iRacing doesn't have the smoke like they used to.
What's that dance that they do? Was it the Grizzly?
Definitely liking the burnout, though. I think that, Patrick's got such great car control.
What's Justin Jefferson's touchdown dance?
I have no idea.
The gritty. He's doing the gritty. Oh, I get it. Giddy's doing the gritty.
Patrick Gitter, your winner. Let's go ahead and run down through the results here. The final results. Patrick Gitter, your winner here tonight in the Papa John's 250 at Kansas Speedway. Abner Acosta able to grab that second place position. Paul Hill, of course, finishes in third place. Brandon Passalacqua finishes fourth. Brian Johnson fifth. Jose Acosta, sixth place. Derek Heitman, seventh. Jeffrey Souza, eighth. Matt DeCiani in ninth. And Alexander Carr getting himself a 10th place.
Yep, and that's going to put Tim Wortman Jr. coming in 11th with Greg Carr along his outside. Randy Mullins shows a strong performance in 13th with Kenny Powell, the lead gunner, in 14th. Jay Holmes comes in 15th with Paul Whitley, the second. 16th, 17th place shows Connor Banks with Nate King, who fought a long, arduous race here tonight coming home in 18th. 19th shows my main man Clayton Hoffman, one lap down with Paul Olsen, Grumpy Grandpa, rounding out the top 20.
Mark Sanchez finishes 21st. Jason Maines in 22nd. Randy Drumhiller 23rd. Greg Wachinski 24th. Jose Medina in 25th. John Bender in 26th. Corey Saucier in 27th. Benjamin Stevens in 28th. Josh Schaffner, what a terrible day for him, and continues this few tragic races that he's had here. He finishes 29th. Derek Jacobs 30th. Dave Hughes Jr. 31st. Kendall Levron 32nd. And Jordan Sailors rounds out this 33-car field. With that, we're going to take a step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to our top three.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough in hand, stretched it into thin, oversized New York-style slices. I mean, look at that crust! That is the perfect crust thickness no matter how you eat it. So you can fold it or not. But I ain't gonna lie though, I folded. Get a New York style pizza from Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here. As we just completed the race here at Kansas Motor Speedway, or Kansas Speedway. I always make that mistake. But definitely been an exciting race here this evening. We're going to go ahead and get right on into the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. And we'll grab up, I do believe, our third place finisher, which will be, I do believe, Paul Hill. Paul Hill, do you read me?
I got you.
Paul, definitely a good run for you here tonight. I mean, it seemed like you brought a very fast race car here tonight in that 26 machine. You started in 19th, but quickly at the beginning of the race, you were able to kind of work your way through the field and moved up into the top 10, I do believe, at the end of stage one. How was the car feeling? It seemed like you also had handling woes at some points, though.
Yeah, the weather change was a big shift for me, and I kind of had to work on my car at every caution. It was just way too tight at the beginning of the race, and then by the end of it, I moved it too far, and then I was wrecking loose, and Abner slipped by me there at the end. I couldn't hardly keep the car straight, to be honest. So, all in all, kind of an up and down day, but, you know, come out of here with a top three, I can't complain.
Yeah, definitely a good run for you, for sure. I know you're really not going for kind of any playoff points or anything like that. Does that change the way you race the guys out here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's race, but at the same time, I'm trying to have a good time and, you know, kind of dice it up with competitive, you know, competition. And I think everybody understands that. And in general, in this league, everyone runs super clean. I don't feel like anyone intentionally tries to wreck anyone or anything like that or squeeze people up maliciously. So, you know, everyone kind of already races with respect. And of course, all of us non-playoff drivers try to be as respectful as possible, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did exactly that for sure. Now, you know, Abner kind of came up on you late in the race. You know, Did you feel like he didn't have a whole lot left, or was the strategy kind of make it harder to battle with him?
Yeah, no, my tires were just shot. I blew the right rear off the car. I started the race super tight, and as I worked through the race, I tried to free it up, and I made one too many adjustments, and I mean, I had like a extra 20% worn out of my right rear than I expected. So
Wow.
I just went way too far on it and stayed on the high side too long at the beginning of the run, or into the run, I should say. And you know, it is what it is. Live and learn. I just the track being 20 degrees cooler than A officials this week, it just completely threw me off. I was kind of just trying to figure it out, honestly.
Yeah, definitely understand that. Now, Talladega's coming up next week. What's the strategy? Do you think you just, because I know Patrick has locked himself into the round of 8. Are you going to try to push Matt DeCiani?
Yeah, I mean, any of our teammates that are in the playoffs, I think Matt and Matt and Pat are the last ones left. But yeah, we're definitely all going to work together. We usually do pretty well there as a team, so definitely going to help push one of them, Matt being a priority, of course. But, we're all trying to get a win. A win's awesome in this league, so I don't think anyone's going to just hand that over either. So it's not F1, right?
Yeah, I hear that, Paul. Well, who can we give a shout-out after your stellar race today? I mean, started 19th, finishing 3rd, almost one of the biggest movers today.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout-out, of course, to the guys over at Dent Slayer for the tools and everything for my job. Patrick, all the guys over at Team Conti Sim Performance, Matt DeCiani, Derek Heitman, Connor Banks was in there tonight, him as well. Just want to give them all a shout out, and you guys up in the booth, and Kenny for the league.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Paul, and we'll talk to you hopefully next week at Talladega.
Sounds good.
All righty, that was Paul Hill, driver of the 26 machine, Team Conti machine. Definitely fast race car here tonight. Next up, though, Big Al gets to talk to the 55 of Abner Acosta.
Abner Acosta, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Hey, congratulations, man. You actually started this thing in P3. You brought it home on the podium. You're really kind of hanging out, really, for most of the night, man. So how was it? What was that your strategy?
I was just trying to take it easy, but yeah, I felt like I was last place the whole time, but I wasn't. I guess I was just hanging around 10th place, and then I felt like at the end of the runs, my car would get pretty good, but then we had like those kind of late cautions that kind of made me not take any positions. So the last long run, that last stint really helped, and I guess I had a little bit more tire left than everybody else, so I was able to get second.
Well, a lot of people seem to be affected by a cooler than normal track temperature. Was that something that you guys, did that affect you guys' situation at all, or was it?
Yeah, I didn't race the cup car. I did do the trucks. I didn't race the cup car, so to me, it didn't affect me because I had not done laps in any other temperature. So for me, it was fine.
Okay, so did you find yourself having to make adjustments, or were you just driving the car for mostly?
No, I didn't make any changes. Again, I was just taking it kind of slow. I felt like Brandon was also doing the same thing, kind of just taking it easy, and we were just hoping for long runs. But yeah, no changes, just drove it easy.
Yeah, so you made the statement earlier that you kind of felt like you were in last place. Are you feeling any pressure whatsoever to kind of like solidify your position here in the round of 8 by getting a win, or is it something that's not even bothering you right now?
No, I just race. I do feel like I do sometimes play the slow game too much as a personal goal that I have. Maybe I should push at the beginning of stints more. But as far as the playoff, I think it's still good. I think I'm like 6th or something, and I think with this I might go up a little bit. So yeah, I don't feel pressure, not yet. Just trying to get good runs in.
All right, next week we're headed down south just a little bit. Gonna be down there in Sweet Home, Alabama, little old track known as Talladega. What are your thoughts on Talladega? Is it a track that you kind of love or loathe?
No, I don't like super speedway racing. I feel like if you could just put everybody on the track and just do 10 laps, it would be fun. But doing like a bunch of laps on super speedway, I think it's more like you're just sitting there waiting for for the cautions, not the cautions, for waiting for the pit stops and then just waiting for the end. I don't really enjoy it. Yeah, not fun for me.
Sounds like a road trip, the way you explained it.
What was that?
I said it sounded like a road trip.
Yeah, no,
You're going to get on the road and drive 500 miles, stop to get snacks, and hope we don't get caught by the cops, right?
yeah, you just wait for the last 10 laps and just push. Yeah, it's honestly not fun. I don't know how people do it in real life.
Well, all right, bud. Well, congratulations again for bringing that thing home in P2 tonight. Who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Yeah, Private Label King Hype. You guys for broadcasting, Kenny for hosting the league, and my brother and everybody else. Thank you.
All right, man. Like I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you at Talladega.
I'll try. Have a good night.
Alrighty, that was Abner Acosta, driver of the 55 machine. Definitely dreading, it sounds like, Talladega, but I'm guaranteeing you he's not going to be dreading the Roval, which comes up the week after. Of course, next up, we're going to be talking to, though, our winner, Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21. Patrick, what a phenomenal race you ran here tonight. Finished with 6 seconds on second place. But I got to say, do you think you would have won if Clayton had not sped on pit road?
No chance. Clayton had us cooked, and I felt like I stole this one tonight. He had 3 seconds on me when we went for the green flag stops, and I was shocked when Matt came over our Discord and said that he got a speeding penalty. So it's yeah, I mean, it's surprising. We had a good car certainly, but Clayton had his car hooked up on the top, and the way this race played out, we never had a major long run. It was about 40 laps, 35 laps at the most, and he had his car hooked up on the top, and strategy he had was, I think it was really going to pay off if that didn't happen.
Now, of course, we've heard drivers talk about the difference in the track conditions, and do you think that really impacted you a lot? I know Clayton talked about it in length, and of course, he, being somewhat of an engineering genius, was able to probably adjust on the race car. Did you adjust on your car?
No. I mean, for me, I was more so just running different lines, changing up my lines on both sides of the track to get a feel for how I needed to wear the car, how I wanted it. And honestly, we came into this race and we saw the track temp. We're like, holy crap, this thing's gonna cool off. And I don't know. By the end of the race, I don't know. In my opinion, it just didn't affect the car as much as we thought it would. But I think part of that too could have just been we anticipated a little bit what it was gonna do, and we started changing our racing lineup a little bit earlier in the run than we normally would.
Well, definitely a great job to you, though, Patrick. I mean, how does it feel it's got to be a big weight off your shoulders to not have to try to win your way in at Talladega or the Roval, or even just get good points at all at Talladega or the Roval? Because, I mean, those are two tracks that things could go very, very wrong very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, it gives us an opportunity to kind of focus on Matt next week. Work with him, make sure we can do what we can to get him up front at Talladega and hopefully get a win for him. But that's obviously never guaranteed. These fields are strong every week, and we'll just do the best we can to communicate there and work together, and hopefully we can survive till the end when it matters and hook something up for him.
Well, that's going to be the key, and I know Paul even said that even if he had a chance to win at Talladega, he would. Would you kind of take that chance, or is it all about Matt?
I mean, I think getting my win tonight kind of locks me in. So I mean, I think the focus would probably be on Matt next week. I mean, if something happens and we get separated or it's just impossible, then obviously at that point it's kind of every man for himself. But it'd be one of those deals where it's just kind of wait and see and figure out what kind of cards were dealt at the end of that thing.
Well, definitely looking forward to seeing what Talladega looks like for you for sure. And looking forward to seeing if possibly you can continue your reign as champion. Of course, you won last year's championship here in the Super Cup Series and wondering if you can possibly do it again. We're getting down to the wire. The end of the season is so close. I mean, what's the mindset looking like right now?
Yeah, I think it's, obviously it'd be great to go back to back, but it's one race at a time, and these fields are strong every week. We talked about it before, but I think Clayton wins this race hands down if he doesn't get that speeding penalty, and he's always a factor each week, and there's plenty of other guys in here that are factors each week, and that's why there's no one person that really dominates the win totals here in this league. It's been pretty spread out this year, so I think it speaks highly of the league, and just be a race by race kind of deal going forward.
All right, well, who can we shout out, Patrick, after this win here in the Papa John's 250, locking yourself into the round of 8?
Yeah, appreciate you guys in the booth for calling the race, Kenny for putting on the league, Abner for P2, and Paul for P3, and again, Clayton. I feel like I stole this one tonight. I think he wins that thing if he doesn't get the penalty in pit road. Shout out to obviously my teammates, Matt, Derek, Paul. We had Connor Banks in here with us tonight. Shout out to him, Team Conti Sim Performance, and Simrenio Designs.
All right, Patrick, thank you for your time. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
All righty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Definitely a fantastic performance there for him. I mean, what a race. Gridded in 4th place, ran up towards the front all day long. Seems like Team Conti definitely brought themselves a fast race car here tonight. That's for sure. He's going to be moving on to the next round, Big Al. I mean, I got to say, that's got to be a big relief for him. But I'll tell you, I'm not relieved. I don't know what Talladega is going to hold. How you feeling, Big Al?
I mean, I'm excited. It's always excited to go to Talladega. I think the fans love it. And I love what Abner said. It is kind of like a family road trip where you just out there really driving around 500 miles. And then once you get almost to grandma's house, everybody comes alive because they got to go to the bathroom. So that's the easiest way to explain it. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to be short of exciting. And I'm going to be right here calling every lap of it with you, man.
That's right. Definitely looking forward to it for sure. Make sure you tune in next week at Talladega Super Speedway. We're going to be live and of course, getting ready for the race at about 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The race itself will go green a little after 9:30. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll tell you what, I think we're going to get to see some vehicles up on their lids. I think there's going to be some drivers that are going to be definitely pretty upset after Talladega. There's going to be some guys that are probably going to be relieved because they made it through the grinder that is that 2.66 mile racetrack. You don't want to miss it, though. I know I don't want to miss it. And if I'm sick, I'm probably still going to be here watching this race and calling this race and just bearing through the pain. We can't wait to see you. Want to, of course, shout out Kobe Jordan for, of course, bringing all the awesome camera angles and showing us all the replays so me and Big Al could analyze everything. Of course, Kenny Powell for doing a awesome job running this series and keeping it as competitive as it is. Of course, Big Al, thank you for being the best partner in crime a commentator can ask for. But we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the ISCA Super Cup Series. Thanks for watching.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that